On our wedding night, the dagger hidden in my sleeve hadn't yet found Alexander Wei's heart before his blood-streaked longsword was already at my throat. I was the royal family's spy in the Wei household. He was the traitor who held the court in his palm, the man everyone wanted dead. He gripped my waist, breath warm at my ear as the red canopy rippled around us. "Princess, want my life? Trade me your heart first." I gambled for his throne, he caged my life. In this game, whoever fell in love first would be the first to die. Chapter 1. He said he wanted concubines. That very night, I stuffed 2 pretty maids into his room. Who knew that in the dead of night, half asleep as I was, Lily and Grace would creep onto my bed, tearful and aggrieved. "Princess, please don't drive us away. Being a little concubine is nothing like being your maids. Without us, who'll sew your belly bands?" Lily's eyes brimmed as she nestled into my arm. Gentle, placid Grace even wiped her eyes. "Your body is precious. Who will attend your baths?" It was midsummer hot, and the 2 wore only thin gauze. Their curves showed through the light silk. 2 lovely figures weeping by candlelight, enchanting enough to steal a soul. I dragged my gaze from their chests, swallowed, and pulled them both into my arms. "Fine. Don't go. Stay with me from now on. It's late. Sleep and keep your beauty. Come tomorrow looking pretty." Lily pouted, shaking her head like a rattledrum. "We offended the Lord today. I fear we won't live long. If he comes for us, I won't make it hard for you." I wiped their tears, blustering though my heart trembled. "Absurd. Will Alexander Wei defy the heavens? With me here, I'd like to see who dares touch you." No sooner had I said it than the door flew open. Alexander stood there in a silver silk robe, longsword in hand, a god of slaughter at the threshold. I wilted at once and softened my tone. "Husband, why are you carrying a sword at this hour?" I flicked my eyes at Lily and Grace, signaling them to hurry back. Alexander calmly took a seat and, face like thunder, began to wipe the blade by lamplight. His voice was icy. "Princess, you're cozy with warm jade in your arms. I've come at a bad time and spoiled your fun." Heat flared in my face. I lifted my chin. "I can hug my own maids as I please. Who are you to object? Besides, I sent my 2 maids to you dressed up and pretty. Why did they come back crying? If you're useless, don't waste their time." "Useless? Have you forgotten how I ended up like this?" He gave a soft laugh. His robe hung loose, the strong body beneath half revealed. I rolled my eyes inwardly. Going out dressed like that? Indecent. Why not just go naked? Girls with figures like Lily and Grace would tempt anyone, yet for all his youth and fire, nothing happened. Could it be? He can't? My eyes flicked downward despite myself. I stammered. "Was it injured that time?" He set the sword aside and came over, sitting down hard on my bed. After a long while, he sighed. I started, but pressing down my shock, I patted his shoulder to comfort him. "Don't worry, I'll take responsibility. If not for me, Alexander wouldn't have lost his lifelong joy in bed. If I abandoned him now, what kind of person would I be?" Here's what happened. A few months ago, I bought a handsome youth from a pleasure hall. Father was so furious he wanted me punished by family law. Panicking, I climbed the wall, slipped, and fell headfirst. Alexander happened to be visiting father that day. I tumbled off the wall and nearly crushed him to death. The imperial physician said he broke 2 ribs on the spot. Afterward, father decided I would be married to Alexander. I humbled myself and tended him carefully for 3 months until he recovered. I planned to sneak a taste of him when I could. Before I could, he turned out to be not functional. I must have fallen on that place and left him with a lasting issue. What a pity. Such a strong body. When a woman loses faith in a man, her heart goes cold. Even a beautiful body no longer stirs a ripple. "Move over a bit, and put your clothes back on." I pulled a stern face and ordered him off my bed. "What are you afraid of? I've got a condition. I can't do anything to you." Damn it, that fine chest really isn't fated for me. Should I go to the pleasure hall and pick out a few lovely boys another time? I'm sleeping here tonight. He lifted my quilt and lay down like he owned the place, tugging more of the covers to his side. You should sleep in your own room. How can you sleep here?" His voice drifted over, cool as ice. "Everyone already knows you sent 2 maids to my room tonight. Do you want them to know my condition too? That would ruin your reputation." He was hurt because of me. I couldn't repay kindness with enmity. I pursed my lips and let it be. Just as I settled under the covers, he said, "Meow like a kitten." "What for? What man goes to his wife's room and doesn't get down to business?" His voice dipped. "Pretend." Light words that somehow carried no vulgarity at all. Even so, my mind wandered. Jerk. Burning with shame, I dove under the quilt. "I won't." He tugged my head back out. "Fine, don't. I'll take the loss." "What loss?" he sighed. "Letting people say I'm not up to it." I'd said I would take responsibility. But if he really couldn't, what about the rest of my life? I couldn't hang myself on him, could I? I haven't even started. Am I to bury my whole life like this? I grew genuinely sad. "So, are you really injured there? I'll give you more money so you can live comfortably. I'm a maiden. I haven't even had my first time. Be kind. Don't drag me down. I think we should div." Before the word "orse" left my lips, Alexander flipped over, pinned me beneath him, and sealed my mouth. "Lottie, why don't we try?" He tormented me all night, and at last, my heart settled. Midsummer dawn comes early. Pale light spilled through carved lattice windows as Alexander rose and snuffed the last candle. Hearing the movement, I blinked awake, hugging the quilt. Seeing him, my sleepy mind snapped clear. My dear maids would be along any moment to bathe and dress me. Panic surged. After last night's madness, I couldn't let them see me like this. I glared at the marks on my skin, seething. "Are you a dog? Look what you've done. Get back to your courtyard. Don't dangle in front of me." "Let me see." He crossed the floor in 2 strides and sat at the bedside, yanking down my quilt. He's always stronger than me. I couldn't win. His gaze roamed, his hand traced the red marks, far from well-behaved. Face flaming, I kicked him with my pale, smooth calf. "Didn't you say you couldn't?" He caught my leg, fingers skimming lightly along my skin. A bad premonition rose in my chest. In the next breath, the world flipped. He caged me beneath him, dark emotions smoldering in his eyes. "I'm not sure. Help me test again?" I meant to send him away before my precious girls saw me like this. Instead, I tumbled and turned until I slept past mid-morning. When I finally opened my eyes, my darlings stood in a row at the bed, 6 eyes shooting flames as they chorused, "Princess, you're sullied." I tried to burrow under the quilt and play dead. No use. They hauled me up and scrubbed me with soap pods and petals again and again. Lily and Grace wrung out my hair. I blinked lazily. "Last night, find anything in Alexander's study?" "Many letters sealed with wax. I didn't dare touch them," Lily said timidly. Grace added, "Mostly classics and histories. I didn't find anything unusual." I expected as much. I slipped on the light gauze Grace handed over. "It's fine. Alexander is deep and meticulous. Not finding anything at once is normal, as long as we left no trace." Once they assured me, I eased a little. I spread paper on the desk, lifted my brush, and thought. Before my marriage, Emperor Adrian had summoned me many times, warning that the Wei clan harbored disloyalty, aiming to replace the Shao throne. It wasn't groundless. The Min dynasty's throne wasn't exactly well-earned. Back in the late Zhou, eunuchs seized power. The realm weakened. Disasters flared, people suffered. My ancestor Emperor Julian Xiao and Andrew Wei, pillars of the state, sought to eliminate the eunuchs and restore order. Halfway to their goal, my ancestor betrayed him, founding the Min dynasty. People called it the thief Xiao stealing a nation. In strategy and virtue, my ancestor was inferior to Andrew Wei, yet he became master of the world. To soothe the Wei, my ancestor enfeoffed Andrew as a foreign surnamed king, to be inherited forever. By Emperor Adrian's day, the title had become nominal, but the Wei's fame among the people only grew. Alexander's father, Leonard Wei, a former top scholar, crushed the Northern Dai a decade ago and won the people's hearts. Later, my imperial grandfather withdrew his command and made him Minister of Works. Even so, during construction, he launched many public works, and auspicious omens kept appearing. Once, a white tiger led him safely from danger. People said he was born under the purple star of sovereigns. As for Alexander, he rose young, top scholar at 16. After years compiling texts, he was named the Crown Prince's Grand Tutor, teaching the Crown Prince rights and riding archery. Emperor Adrian is suspicious, but his worry isn't baseless. Rumors swirl. The purple star points to the true emperor. How could it rest on Leonard Wei? If it's all fate, I don't buy it. Someone must be fanning the flames to fool the masses. As a princess of the Min dynasty, I can't watch father and son ruin our peaceful age. Alexander's study being so spotless, too clean to be normal, I'd have to return another time. Having sorted my thoughts, I set down the brush and lit the candle. The paper curled and turned to ash. This manor was a wedding gift from Emperor Adrian. In front of my courtyard stands a summer platform. White gauze floats in the breeze. At night, you can watch bamboo shadows slant and fireflies dim along the low wall. After dinner, fanning myself, I looked up to see a sharply cut face. Alexander sat and picked up a chilled grape. "Why only you? Where are your maids?" I fanned harder. "Off doing things." He flicked the grape back onto the plate, smiling as if not smiling. "Your maids are remarkable." My heart thudded. Did Lily and Grace slip up in his study last night? Yes, one's skilled with needlework, one does hair beautifully, one's attentive, one's clever and cute, just standing there saying nothing, they're pleasing to the eye. I blinked, then veered away. "What, did one catch your eye?" he asked instead. "Why did you send 2 maids to me yesterday?" Damn him, why ask and make me nervous? I slid into his lap, wrapped my arms around his neck, and whined, "Your brother came to see you. I heard you talk about taking concubines. I got mad and did it. I was wrong. You're not allowed to take concubines." "You're jealous," he said, tapping my nose. "You look like a kitten. Last night, a kitten messed up my desk in the study and then ran." Damn. Didn't Lily and Grace say they left no trace? Never trust a woman's word. I ducked into his arms with a blush. "Why bring up last night?" "I was sore all day, and my waist still hurts." "You didn't come here for that again, did you?" "I won't. You brute. All you do is bully me." He couldn't take my saucy mouth. His arm tightened at my waist, a hint of discomfort in his voice. "Enough. Don't say it." I burrowed closer and cried harder. "You didn't coax me like that when you wanted my body. You said I was cute then." "Don't cry." He pinched my cheek. "No more." I slapped him and ran inside, wailing, "You used me then, didn't cherish me. I won't ever sleep with you again." Damn and infuriating. Summer rains drenched the capital. In half a stick of incense, thunder rolled and white lightning split the heavy sky. Big raindrops slapped down and streams formed at once. I was going to keep Princess Anne company. Since her husband's death, she'd been low-spirited. Avoiding the water, I entered her palace. She sat in a pavilion, watching a man in white perform a sword dance. 5 or 6 handsome men massaged her shoulders and fed her drinks. My eyes went wide. In that moment, I wished Alexander would die early. "Lottie, you came." "My name is Charlotte Xiao, but Princess Anne always calls me Lottie." I argued at first, then gave in. I shook rain from the oiled paper umbrella and leaned it against a pillar. My gaze returned to the man in white. He looked very much like my late brother-in-law. I'd spotted him at the pleasure hall months ago and bought him at once for my sister. Only my brother-in-law had been a general. This white-robed man was slender and elegant, clearly struggling with the sword. "Enough, you may go." Anne lost interest and waved him off. She squeezed the hands kneading her shoulders. "Ping, take them away." I was so jealous. When would Alexander die? The rain fell like beaded curtains. Mist veiled the lotus. The drip-drip of water, perfect for a few drinks. "Do you still miss him?" Princess Anne smiled at herself. "Miss him? I sleep in other men's arms? Do I deserve to say I miss him? I hold men left and right and live happily. Someone like me, what right do I have to talk about not letting go?" After a while she grew drunk, cheeks flushed, muttering, "Peter, Peter." That night, curled under her quilt, she murmured, "Father, can you truly not tolerate Peter? If so, why did you make me marry him?" On a night like this, my brother-in-law, General Yang's son, Peter Yang, died in a brothel's bed. He hadn't come home. When my sister found him, he had died in that shameful way. In the capital, people whispered that Peter might be appointed general of Xuanwu, commanding 3,000 men at the suburban camp, a bright future ahead. No one imagined the austere General Yan would be out consorting with prostitutes. It became a scandal. Princess Anne suffered a great humiliation and fell apart. Emperor Adrian forbade the court to speak of it, to placate her. She had loved her husband, even if he failed her. It crushed her, turning a gentle princess into a wanton shrew in others' mouths. I patted her back until my eyes blurred, then fell asleep holding her. The next day it was still raining when someone reported Alexander had come to fetch me. I was puzzled. What was he up to? He stood under the eaves watching the rain, shoulders broad, waist narrow, tall and elegant in pale violet robes. "Alexander," I called. He turned and naturally took my hand. Come! The rain won't stop soon. I've come to bring you
Outside
home. The princess's palace, water pooled. Alexander suddenly scooped me up, arms tight at my waist. He looked down at the ground. Hold the umbrella well, don't get wet. The oiled paper umbrella covered our heads and sealed us in a small world. Rain drummed the canopy, as chaotic as my heart. He set me on the carriage. Mud clung to my shoes and dampened the carpet. His boots were soaked too. Are you uncomfortable? Take off your shoes and wipe your feet on the carpet, I said. Guilty. He pressed down the hand reaching for his robe and said with ceremony, I have something to tell you. Last night, my brother and I were discussing matters in my study. Someone was sneaking around outside. He thought it an assassin and threw a dagger. He wounded your maid Rose. She said she was delivering snacks by your order and met with misfortune. So that's why he was so thoughtful. My pupils tightened. I grabbed his hand. Is Rose all right? What's wrong with your brother? No restraint. What were you discussing to be so wary? Alexander said nothing. His falcon-sharp gaze skimmed over me. Don't worry, she'll live. He lowered his eyes. When he raised them again, they were clear. My brother feels guilty. He's waiting at the house to apologize to you in person. I sat rigid, thoughts spinning. Stupid Rose. She dared stir the grass and scare the snake, wrecking my plans. Our late-night search had already made Alexander wary. How dared she act without my orders? After sending Victor Wei away, I went straight to Rose's room. She lay on the bed without a hint of remorse. I curved my lips. Well, what did you find last night? They mentioned iron mines in Wuning. And? I asked with a smile that didn't reach my eyes. Who allowed you to act without orders? Rose coughed and pushed herself up. I serve the emperor, I should share his burdens. You've been married 3 months and learned nothing. Now you've consummated the marriage and behave like that. I thought you'd been distracted by love and forgotten His Majesty's command. 2 months before the wedding, Alexander was injured and slept in his study every night. This month, Lillian Grace already alarmed him. Victor is a skilled fighter. His dagger stopped 3 inches from your heart. Be grateful. Rose froze and stammered. But I already sent the message out. So you still didn't heed my words. I paused, suddenly tired. And my affairs with Alexander, did you report everything to His Majesty? She kept her head down and stayed silent. A servant cannot serve 2 masters. You overstepped. Lily and Grace will come to question you later. Tell them about your family. I'll see to them. The next day, Rose went quiet forever. I didn't kill her. Victor's men were too rough. Not my fault. I wept and wailed before Rose's small shrine until Alexander carried me away. I stared at his fine eyebrows, thinking how beautiful he was. The year he won top scholar, I was drinking on Vermilion Bird Street. Red robe, black hat, he rode a tall horse to the blast of Suonas like a groom riding to his bride. I thought then that anyone who married him would have lived a worthy life. Tipsy, I leaned out the window and shouted, "What a handsome groom!" He seemed to hear, looked up at the tavern window and met my eyes. So handsome, truly handsome. I clutched the wine jar shyly, eyes squeezed shut with a smile. Which lucky girl will win him? I didn't notice the jar slipping. Thud, it shattered. He laughed, nudged his horse, and went on. His smile dazzled me. Another rainy day, I passed under Matchmaker's Bridge and bought a basket of wildflowers from an old woman. Lifting my eyes, I saw Alexander on the bridge, holding an umbrella for a vegetable seller with a shoulder pole. His blue robe was soaked. Later he came down and stood in the rain reading a poem carved on a stone. I thought, he looks good in anything, red or blue. I buried my fondness deep, sweet and bitter, not for outsiders to know. Days later, a great scandal broke at court. An iron mine was found in Wuning. The first prince hid the news, but Emperor Adrian discovered it. They say His Majesty denounced the first prince in open court as wolf-hearted and condemned him to 2 months' house arrest. Who could have guessed the spark came from Rose? Alexander must have long known to leak it for her to hear. Just how deep does the Wei clan's influence run? I didn't dare imagine. In this summer heat, a chill crawled down my back. Alexander lifted the bead curtain and entered. It's father's birthday. Let's go early. I nodded. The Wei estate was elegant, lush with trees and flowers spilling over its high walls. Following the corridor to the kitchens, we found Lady Wei directing the cooks. Seeing us arrive hand in hand, she beamed and led us to the hall. The kitchen's messy. Let's talk out front. After a few pleasantries, Lady Wei asked bluntly, Lottie, why isn't there any movement in your belly? You've been married a while. Is that part not harmonious? Alexander sipped tea, exasperated. Mother, Lottie's shy. Don't. Ha, my skin is thicker than the city wall, but Alexander is odd. In bed, he's a beast. Out of it, he's the picture of gravity. People praise him as steady and dignified. I don't get it. Don't worry, Mother. We're very harmonious. Since Alexander wouldn't answer, I grinned at her. I never knew it could feel that good. Youth has its perks. Lady Wei brightened. Lottie, wait here. I'll fetch something. She came back and thrust a gaudy, thick book at us, sipping tea as she cleared her throat. Page 28 and 52 are quite good. Back then, Alexander yanked the book away and tossed it aside. Mother, I'll take Lottie to the courtyard. What? I was going to discuss it with you. Isn't that something to discuss with me? He slanted me a look. What's the use talking to Mother? I suspected he was being suggestive, but had no proof. Then he tugged my hand and changed the subject. There's an apricot tree in my courtyard. They should be ripe. Let's pick some. He sprang up the tree and soon filled a basket. Servants carried them to the kitchen to be served to guests. Men and women sat separately. To play the good Wei daughter-in-law, I sat below Lady Wei the whole time, chatting with the ladies and sipping tea cup after cup. Leaving the privy by a winding path, I spotted General Yang. He looked around and headed toward a rockery. My heart pounded. Curious, I followed. Leonard Wei stood scattering fish feed over the water, his blue robe making him look scholarly and refined. You're here. General Yang stopped behind him and snorted. Minister Wei, what a mood. The court is in chaos and you still hold a birthday feast. What do you mean? Leonard half squinted at the lake and tossed more feed. The court has many loyal, wise men. I carry little weight and never had His Majesty's favor. How dare I speak carelessly? Enough riddles, let's speak plainly. Of the three princes, which do you favor? The princes are dragon and phoenix among men. All are excellent. What does Commander Yang think? The first prince is mediocre, dull. The third prince is arrogant and impetuous. As for the crown prince, he's indecisive, timid, and lacks the bearing of an heir. Leonard smiled, eyes on the red fish. You're mistaken. His Majesty is in his prime, and the princes are young. They can be cultivated. Young? At that age, you are already top scholar. Your son is famed at that age, too. What are you getting at? Impatient, General Yang's voice sharpened. I'm a blunt man. Give me a straight answer. Whom do you favor? What if I say none? Have you heard the saying, the Shao thief stole a nation? Tell me, did he only steal the former dynasty's throne? His tone was mild, the listener's blood ran cold. At last, the truth. General Yang burst out laughing. Getting a straight word from Minister Wei is harder than heaven. My heart lurched. Hidden behind the rockery, I clapped a hand over my mouth. Emperor Adrian's suspicions were right. Leonard harbors treason. They went on, but I couldn't hear. I needed to leave and think. Unease swelled. I held my breath and hurried away. Once past the rockery, I exhaled and wiped sweat from my brow. Sister-in-law. Victor Wei stepped out from a corner. His sudden voice nearly tore my soul from my body. Years in camp had given him a natural air of command. Expressionless, he could crush you with his stare. Why are you here? He softened his tone. One glance behind the rockery and his brows knit tighter. Before I could speak, he lunged, clapped a rough hand over my mouth and seized my throat, lifting me almost off the ground. I struggled, but a woman's strength is no match, a mantis before a cart. He shoved my head under water. It flooded my nose and eyes, suffocating. Splash. I can't swim. After a few flails, consciousness faded. I thought, I'm going to die. Only then did I truly understand I'd been swept into politics, and my petty cleverness was foolish. In politics, it's you or me. Chapter 2. I blinked into darkness. Only a small window high on the wall let in a scrap of light. My clothes clung damp to my skin. In the cold, I hugged myself. Where was I? Wasn't I thrown into the water by Victor Wei? Where now? I felt my way up the wall. Dust crumbled under my fingers. Footsteps approached. Firelight stabbed my eyes. Still alive, sister-in-law. Victor stood a few paces away with 2 soldiers. In the torchlight, his smiling face looked like a demon's. By the torch, I saw it was a private cell. A stone table stood near me, torture tools hung on the wall outside. A soldier opened the gate. Alexander entered with a torch. I steadied my voice. "Victor, what are you doing?" "Drop the act," he sneered. "You heard. If you want to live, stay here. Otherwise, I'll end you anytime." "I don't understand." I turned my face away. "I'm going back. Alexander will be looking for me." I'd taken 2 steps when Victor grabbed my throat. His hand tightened. "Save your tricks. My brother spoils you. I won't. Try anything and I won't be gentle. Your life will be..." His grip was iron. In moments my mind went blank and my vision swam. "Don't try me," he snorted and let go. I stumbled back, clutching my neck, coughing. "Stay put, I'll spare you for now." After he left, I sat in a corner and forced myself to calm down. I felt no relief at surviving, only a heavy dread, tears pressing behind my eyes. I had to tell Emperor Adrian about the Wei clan's treason. But trapped here, how could I save myself? Lily and Grace would notice I was missing. They wouldn't sit idle. And if the news spread, Emperor Adrian would be on guard. It would be fine. I told myself to relax and crawled onto the stone bed. But once I closed my eyes, all I saw was the day's scene. Lady Wei holding my hand, calling me a good daughter-in-law, Alexander and I seeming close. Cold seeped into my bones, curled tight. I was still freezing. Near midnight, my head swam, a soft rustle at the lock. I forced my eyes toward the door. "Lottie?" Alexander strode in, still in his silver bamboo-patterned robe and knee-high boots, each step steady. His hand touched my forehead, and he sighed. He lifted me into his arms. A warm kiss touched my brow. His voice soothed me. "Don't be afraid, we're going home." "Brother, what are you doing?" Victor blocked the door, furious. "Sparing her is mercy on your account. You can't take her." "Lilv." "Brother." They squared off. Alexander pressed his lips thin. "You've gone too far." "What do you want then? Watch her inform the Emperor of us? Do you think His Majesty has no suspicions if she says nothing?" Silence stretched. At length, Alexander spoke again. "Mind yourself. I'll handle her." He walked on, sure and steady, holding me. After a while, Victor's voice came from behind. "Brother, haven't you grown too soft? Father has high hopes and I take you for my model. Look what you're doing. Are you blinded by this woman? Once we succeed, we can have any woman you want. Why insist on this one? Father and I never taught you to despise women. She's your sister-in-law, my lawful wife. Don't harm her." Alexander glanced back, cold. "It ends here. She stays with me. Don't worry." When I opened my eyes again, I was in my own bed beneath a pale lotus canopy. Alexander lay beside me, breathing even, lashes casting a small shadow. Memory flooded back. It hadn't been a dream. When my hand brushed his brow, he caught it. He drew me into his arms, closed his eyes again, and pressed his palm to my forehead. "Good. The fever's gone. Sleep a bit more." His voice was weary. Something melted in my chest. In that dark cell, I never thought anyone would come for me. I'd braced for the worst. Then suddenly, the path opened. I'd imagined his reaction 1,000 times. I never thought it would be this. I nestled into him, savoring the quiet. We didn't speak of last night, as if the truth would shatter this fragile sweetness. "Stay with me," Alexander said. When I tried to leave to visit Princess Anne, I finally understood what he meant. "Princess, the Lord ordered that if he's not here, you cannot go out alone." A young guard bowed. "He worries for your safety, please understand." Lily stepped forward, incredulous. "This is the princess's manner. Since when does she need the Lord's permission to step out?" The guard lowered his head further, hand on his sword. "Princess, you truly cannot leave." "What's that supposed to mean?" Lily puffed up, tugging my sleeve. "Look, Princess." Grace steadied me. "The gardenia painting isn't finished. Let's go back." Back inside, Lily slammed the door. "What now? We're under house arrest." Grace spread the unfinished scroll, voice low. "Princess, your safety is everything to me. After what happened last time, I still shake. In this state, I feel safer." I stood at the desk, unable to paint. Was I wrong about Rose's death? Rose belonged to the Emperor? If she'd lived, would things be different? Lily shook her head. Once the Lord suspected, how could she live? Grace weighed her words. "You're a lady. You can't match the Emperor in stratagems. If he already suspects, he must have plans. Princess, let's stay out of this. Last time was terrifying." Seeing Grace's worry, I managed a dry line. "It was an accident." Lily glanced between us. "I think the Lord truly likes the princess. He won't hurt her. When you disappeared, he turned the entire estate upside down." That night you burned with fever. He watched without sleep. What good is that? How much of his heart can we trust? And his brother nearly killed her. Grace dropped to her knees. Princess, divorce him. Let's go home and live as before. Grace, Lily faltered. Get up. I took a breath, drew the green leaves in brisk strokes, and spoke softly. Under a toppled nest, no egg survives. If even I want to stand apart, who will love the Min dynasty? I'm proud to be a princess. Sharing its trials is my duty. There's no turning back. Don't worry. I'll judge the time and protect myself. Grace was right. Emperor Adrian had other plans. He imprisoned Alexander Wei. Heavy summer rains had burst the dam in Yuzhou. The local magistrate sent a confession claiming that 3 years ago he and Minister of Works Leonard embezzled funds meant for the dam. The confession detailed how Leonard coerced him and included letters from that time. The magistrate had already taken his own life after submitting it. His Majesty raged and threw Leonard into prison. Hearing this, Alexander rushed me home in a panic. Lady Wei, I'm ordered to search for stolen goods. With searches come knocks and scuffs, said Magistrate Zhang of the Court of Judicial Review, standing in the courtyard, haughty. My husband is a foreign surnamed king, a general, a top scholar, a minister. He'd scorn such acts. Don't you dare pin a dirty hat on him. Lady Wei held a sword, ramrod straight, eyes blazing. If you're searching, search. Break another thing and ask my sword first. Found it. Found it. A soldier ran up with a box. My lord, a Wantong bank draft dated 3 summers ago. That's impossible. Lady Wei staggered, barely keeping her feet. Impossible. Alexander rushed to support her. I took Lady Wei and drew her back. Alexander's gaze turned blade sharp. He snapped. Where exactly did you find this? Top shelf of the bookcase. If this were true, why put the evidence on a shelf? He strode up. Did you plant it? The soldier faltered, backpedaling, a line of blood appearing where Alexander's sword kissed his neck. Magistrate Zhang knocked the blade aside, face paling. Enough. It's not your place to interrogate. We found evidence. Will you kill an officer to silence him? You won't need my brother to dirty his hands. I'll do it. Victor flashed in, a sword at Zhang's throat. Victor, let him go. Don't be rash. Lady Wei cried. Zhang's voice broke, shrill with terror. Princess, help. I managed to smile. General Zhang, Victor is jesting. No need to fear. Have your man explain exactly where the box was found. A eunuch's cry split the air. His Majesty arrives. The Emperor approached in a swish of jade pendants. John wept with relief and knelt. Long live the Emperor. Emperor Adrian sat, straightening his robe, calm authority radiating from him. Leonard's case is grave. To calm the people, I had no choice but to imprison him until the truth is found. I'm troubled and stepped out to clear my head and somehow came here. Your Majesty, I was ordered to search. No sooner had I found the evidence than the young general's sword was on my neck. Zhang kowtowed. Here is the proof. Oh, the Emperor took the box, saw what lay within, and slammed the table. Outrageous. No one dared speak first. Be calm, Alexander said, kneeling. His tone was flat. I stake my life that my father's study held no such thing. Then explain this. The Emperor narrowed his eyes. Your proof? This box looks ordinary, but it's purple sandalwood from far southern isles, rare and costly. In the capital, only 4 shops sell such wood. Jubao Curios and Huifang House sell other redwoods, clearly different grain. Linglong Pavilion and Yuanmu Workshop do sell such boxes, but Linglongs are sold only with a matching jewelry set and come with a year's repair service. So we can check their clients. However, Alexander's lips twitched. There's no need. If I'm right, this box was crafted by a man named Zhang. Yuanmu Workshop has 3 craftsmen. Long ago they quarreled over a returned defective piece, and each now marks his work. Lin carves 5-petaled flowers. Zhang always draws 6. Bai adds 2 leaves. Yuanmu's pay comes with a commission per box, so each piece is recorded. Check the ledger to see if my father bought one. The room's mood shifted. Magistrate John began to sweat, but pretended calm. A stalemate. If the box disappeared, Leonard might not live long, yet clearly he'd been framed. I kicked the soldier in the back. His Majesty is here. Speak the truth. He collapsed, howling. Spare me. I lost my senses. I stole a box from Magistrate Zhang's home and forged a draft to frame Leonard. I'm from Yuzhou. The flood took my siblings. I hate the Wei. Without proof, I couldn't bring him to justice, so I did this. Wei scum, may you die. A flash of steel. blood sprayed, he crumpled. A streak splattered the dragon robe. Alexander clapped a hand over my eyes. "Don't look." Emperor Adrian rubbed his brow and hurled a teacup at Zhang's feet. "Your man's handiwork." He stood to go. After a few steps, he glanced back and smiled. "Lottie, the north sent a few bushels of eastern pearls. Come see them with me." "Lottie, you've stayed away from the palace too long." The emperor sat the throne and sipped tea, feigning casual concern. "How is the manor I granted you?" Needles pricked my seat. I forced a smile. "Thank you, Emperor Adrian. All is well." He lifted his eyes to me, smiling oddly. "Don't worry, you are you, the Wei are the Wei. I won't confuse the two. You are a princess of the Min dynasty. I'll not let you be wronged." Each word carried meaning. My smile stiffened. Crash! A cup shattered at my feet. Scalding tea splashed my hand. I bit my lip and knelt. "Did you think I married you to Alexander to bear his children? Speak. Start with Rose." My hand swelled red. I hid it in my sleeve, tears brimming. This truly wasn't my doing. Alexander was already suspicious. Rose disobeyed and eavesdropped in the study. Victor noticed and, kind grandmother, gentle empress, and Princess Anne, they'd gilded this hypocrite before me. Struggle was useless. I bit my lip. I once saw General Yang at the Wei estate. They seemed to have private dealings. He narrowed his eyes, pondering. After the stick and the carrot, he softened. "Go see the Empress Dowager. I'll have the pearls sent to Xi'an Palace." "How careless. How old are you to still scald yourself with tea?" The Empress Dowager applied medicine to my hand, then dug through her box for hairpins. Soon my hair glittered with pins, she chuckled. "Girls should dress boldly. Youth is the time to be dazzling." A message. "The Lord has come to escort the princess." Alexander walked in against the light, star-browed, jade-like. He bowed. "Greetings, Empress Dowager." She looked at us, then clasped our hands together, praising with forced cheer. A perfect match. She handed us 2 small boxes. "Open them." These seals were carved by the late emperor. One positive, one negative, both red, joined for life. She peered at the white jade seals, a hint of girlish shyness on her old face. "May you be harmonious and together forever." "Grandmother, this," I hesitated. "Keep them." "Keep them to take into my grave?" she scolded. "They're just seals, we accepted them." "What happened to your hand?" Alexander lifted it. Scalded? Careless, why are you here? Any word on your father?" He shook his head, downcast. "No conclusion yet." We walked the palace path in silence. "Lottie, I'm setting out for Yuzhou tomorrow." "What?" I stared. "So sudden. The magistrate is dead, Yuzhou is chaos. This concerns father's name, I must go. But father's in prison, if you go. All the more reason." My mind tangled. For no reason I didn't want him to go, danger or something else. I had no reason to stop him. I only said, "Be careful." That night I packed his things. He leaned down, hot mouth at my neck. "What are you doing?" I whispered, face blazing. "I'm packing." "When did you become so dutiful? Why aren't you calling me a bastard like before?" "Bast." The rest was swallowed. He was quiet tonight, saying nothing, only taking. At the end he held me, sighing. At dawn he kissed my brow. "I'm going." After he left, I cried many times in secret. Nothing interested me. On the 8th day, seized by impulse, I packed lightly, left a letter, and galloped for Yuzhou. As the horse flew, my heart surged like a wild sea. I remembered wanting a kite as a child, so badly I couldn't wait. If I didn't get it, the thought would loop in my mind. Every minute before was torture. Later, I broke my favorite hairpin at dinner and craved a new one immediately. I couldn't eat or sleep, haunted all night, waiting at the shop at dawn. I hadn't felt that kind of madness in a long time. And then on a quiet afternoon it returned. I wanted to see Alexander. I wanted him so badly. Once the thought came, I couldn't sit still. Why not be reckless once? After I rode out, fear caught up. How was I so bold? Passing a walnut grove, I had an idea. I smeared juice from green husks on my face and neck. It turned yellow then, with sun and wind, black. I changed into coarse cloth bought on the road. I looked like a sallow, thin farm woman. On the 5th day, I met an elderly couple bound for Yuzhou, hurrying with a donkey cart. The old woman wiped tears, her messy hair swaying. "Our youngest married far away in Yuzhou. We just heard there was a flood. Don't know if she's alive." We traveled together, rushing 12 days until Yuzhou. Thinking of Alexander, I asked the villagers for the dam's location and dragged the couple there. The soldiers said Alexander had just left to rest. At his lodging, a kindly woman said he'd gone to bathe at the river. She gave me hot water. I washed and lay on his small bed, falling asleep at once. Lottie? The voice I'd missed day and night. I jerked upright. Alexander stood by the bed, eyes full of shock. I threw myself into his arms. Alexander, I missed you. I missed you so much. What am I to do with you? A strange light kindled in his eyes. His hot cheek brushed mine, breath warming my ear. Who escorted you? I swallowed, rubbed my hands and dared not speak. He sensed something wrong, pushed me away and pinched his brow with a cold laugh. Guilty and shaken, I peeked up, tugging his sleeve. I'm safe, aren't I? Then I felt low and wronged. I came so far, and you're angry? I rode a donkey cart. The braying nearly killed me, and I had to pretend I wasn't scared. I rushed all the way and you won't look at me. Fine, I'm wrong. He tugged me down. Hungry? I shook my head, just tired, no appetite. He held me and kissed my cheek, voice full of ache. Do you know how dangerous this is? How could you come alone? He stroked my hair. You're tired? I'll sleep with you. Wrapped in his scent, I tipped my head and whispered, Did you go to bathe? He glanced at me. I bobbed my head. Before you came, the lady gave me water. I washed too. He smiled. Then lie down. He pulled the quilt over us. Sleep. Huh? Huh? He echoed, smiling, then kissed me. Sleep now? All right then. I closed my eyes and found a comfortable position in his arms. I'll sleep. Happy to see me today? He didn't answer. I persisted. Are you happy? I was happy too. So happy. Riding a donkey to find him was happy. Sharing a hard little bed was happy. Seeing him, pure joy. Alexander said some soldiers from the capital stayed at inns, others in villagers' homes. The situation was under control. The dam was progressing. Now they were repairing homes to restore life. Don't forget to ask about the old couple's daughter, Liu Hua. He tucked me in. Sleep. When you wake, stay here. Go nowhere. That night he returned with news. The old couple's son-in-law was working at the dam. Their daughter was fine too. He asked me, Your father must be as worried as that couple. When will you go back? I froze. But I've only been here 2 days. You'll leave soon. I want to go with you. No, your father's men reached the inn yesterday. The day after tomorrow at the latest you must go. I said nothing. He coaxed, I want to see you always. But I have duties. You by my side. What would that look like? We have time. I'm not unreasonable. I hooked his belt, breathed into his ear. If you give in tonight and tomorrow night, I'll agree. He gripped my waist, eyes bright, laughing. I didn't know your greatest virtue was lust. I tickled him and he pinned me, hands closing on my wrists. He stared straight into my eyes, face drawing nearer. The world hushed. All I heard was my wild heartbeat, a lingering kiss. On the night before I left for the capital, the moon was bright and stars sparse. He rode with me along a narrow path. Moonlight stretched our shadows. The hoofbeats sounded like longing. He slid an arm around my waist and flicked the reins. The horse ran faster. Wind roared. Sourness welled up. The moon was intoxicating. Let me borrow it to say what I'd kept hidden. Alexander, I really like you. I said it deliberately, word by word. I truly like you. Because of the mood, the romance, and the absence of constant reminders of our roles. Because no one could control me now. Because my heart always trembled for him. Because I wanted to love him openly. Lottie, what am I to do with you? The horse stopped before a stand of gardenias. He lifted me down and spoke. When I first arrived in Yuzhou, I was busier than now. One day I was dead tired, then I came upon this white sea of gardenias. Joy broke over me. It swept away my fatigue. I remembered you love white flowers. Your paintings are gardenia, lily of the valley, magnolia, jasmine. A thought came, if only you were here. And then you were. He took my hand and warmed it. Though we shared a bed, our hearts felt far apart. Sometimes I thought this was good enough. Sometimes I wanted more. With our identities, we can't be fully honest. I often wonder, if we were different people, would we be an ordinary loving couple? When you first married me, my leg was injured. You sent soup daily. A few times you made it yourself. It was terrible, far worse than the cook's. On our wedding night, you stole a kiss, then grew bolder. Every time, I was awake. I thought then, since you married me, I won't let you lose. He drew a breath. I like you very much. In another time and place, I might never say it. But you came. What good is restraint? Even if I say it, what changes? By the time he finished, tears streamed down my face. Warmth crashed through my chest. I covered my face, unable to form words. You have good taste, I sniffed. He wiped my tears. You too. Under the moonlight, the gardenias were beautiful and fragrant. We strolled in the wind, then rode back. I wished the road had no end, that the night would never dawn. But morning would come. At sunrise, he saw me off at the door. I rose on my toes and kissed him. I'll go. Go. The carriage creaked away. I lifted the curtain. He stood beneath a willow, sunlight modeling his face through leaves. He was tall and straight as a jade tree. Our eyes met. He curved his lips and waved. I dropped the curtain. I couldn't look again. Of those escorting me home, 2 were old friends from my father's mansion, and 1 was the guard who had barred my way earlier. He was Alexander's man. Chapter 3 days later, we reached a ferry. Princess, the boat's faster, let's take it. I get seasick. After vomiting, I felt weak. Leaning on the rail for air, I suddenly recognized faces. Lady Wei with 7 or 8 people boarding. A buzz exploded in my skull. I trembled like a leaf. Salt air stung my nose. I clutched the rail and retched. Lottie. Lady Wei hurried over and wiped my mouth. What's wrong, mother? Terror surged. I grabbed her hand and begged, be honest, this isn't the road to the capital. We're fleeing, aren't we? She lowered her eyes, not daring to meet mine. That was answer enough. Leonard was in prison. Alexander and Victor were away. What else could this mean? They were going to rebel. My face drained. Darkness washed over me. I vaguely heard Lady Wei call my name in panic. When I woke, she was at my bedside. Hungry? I shook my head. Child, you're pregnant and didn't know. The old doctor says it's over a month. Like thunder from a clear sky, I stared at my flat belly, dazed. Mother, maybe it's seasickness. Could he be wrong? He's not. You've been throwing up and not eating? How could you bear it? She brought porridge. Start with this. Meat won't go down. I still couldn't believe there was a child, our child. If it's been a month, then it was conceived the night before he left the capital. Why did the child come at such a turbulent time? Mother, I want to go back. Don't be willful. You're with child. How can you? She lectured softly, but my throat closed. Mother, my father is in the capital. My grandmother and sister are there. If you were me, what would you choose? No. If something happens to you, how do I face Alexander? She was firm. No discussion. The boat went south along the canal. We received no news. Jiang Lu Wang Yang, I called the 2 escorts. I don't care what father told you. I must return. Princess, this was the prince's order, please. I reasoned and pleaded until they agreed. As we disembarked, Lady Wei stopped me, slipping off her jade bracelet. Lottie, I know I can't stop you. Be careful, take care of yourself. I left with 3 escorts, the same as when I boarded. The young guard said Alexander had sent him and would not leave my side. News was scarce on the road. We rushed day and night, but I kept holding them back, weakened by morning sickness. Don't worry about me, we must make the capital quickly. I thought the capital would be in turmoil. Oddly, it was normal. Carriages passed, vendors hawked candied hawthorns. I felt dazed and hurried to my father's mansion. Lottie, why are you back? Nonsense. Father was furious, then helpless. You're too stubborn. Father, where is Alexander? He didn't know. Then he gave me a warning look. Stay here. Don't go anywhere. The sky is about to change. What is happening? I was frantic. He was calm. Days ago, the mighty Guard General marched on the capital without imperial order. The mighty Guard General is the first prince's maternal grandfather, so it wasn't Alexander. It was the first prince. Father said the emperor had known and prepared. I shouldn't worry. I kept thinking of Alexander. Where was he? His oddities in Yuzhou, Leonard still in prison. I felt something was wrong. At lunch, the Empress Dowager's old nurse arrived, smiling. The Empress Dowager misses the princess and sent me to escort her to the palace. Why come in person? Father narrowed his eyes. Do you have an edict? She smiled and produced a yellow imperial decree. Father understood, checked it, and nodded. Then, in a flash, he drew his sword. One stroke. The old nurse groaned and fell, blood pooling. My grandmother never sent this woman, nor would she write a decree for it. As soon as father acted, he staggered. I reached for him, and blacked out. Poison in the food. I woke in an abandoned palace hall, sat up, and stared blankly. Emperor Adrian strode in, smiling. Lottie, why didn't you tell me you were with child? I hadn't had the chance. Good. Timely. He laughed. Then his gaze turned cruel. Guess why I caught you? I don't know. The emperor must have his plan. You'll see, my good niece. At midnight, I closed my eyes but couldn't sleep. Lottie, someone called quietly at the window. I thought I imagined it, then heard, "Look up." Princess Anne peered down through a hole, holding a tile. "Don't be afraid, I'll have Ping rescue you." Ping was her favorite bedfellow. I didn't expect he knew martial arts. He lifted a tile and slipped down. Ping murmured, "Forgive me," and swept me up and out. We landed softly. Anne grabbed my hand and looked me over. "Are you all right?" Before I could ask questions, she spoke, frowning. "Ping found you by chance." "No time to explain. Let's go." "What's happening?" Her tone was grim. "My brother is forcing abdication. The mighty guard general's troops have surrounded the palace. Don't worry, their women have been detained in Mother's palace. They should be safe." Past midnight, the palace blazed with light. The air thrummed with coming storm. We ran through the palace paths. Horses thundered, steel clashed, cutting the night apart. Eunuchs and maids fled, screaming. Anne and I met eyes. The palace had fallen. Soldiers pressed my shoulders, forcing me up the steps. Moments earlier, they'd seized us and thrown us before the emperor. I never thought I'd see Alexander like this. Leonard, Alexander, and Victor sat horseback in armor, cutting figures. General Yang aimed an arrow, eyes red. "Xiao Yun, surrender. Sign the abdication edict, and the new emperor will spare your life." Emperor Adrian laughed madly. "Fools, you think I'll fall for it? Open your eyes. Who do the imperial guards obey?" He bellowed at the dark mass. "Guards, seize these traitors." Silence. He faltered and roared again. Leonard sat his horse, serene. "Your Majesty, look closely. Are these your guards?" "No, impossible." The emperor clawed his hair, face contorting. "Sign the abdication. The Min dynasty stays the Min dynasty. Your kin will not be harmed. In your dreams." In 3 strides, he seized me and pressed a sword to my throat. Spittle sprang my face. "Alexander, she carries your child. Come closer and I'll run her through." I laughed, trembling as tears fell. I knew he was cruel, jealous, and autocratic. I didn't know he was this far gone. At that moment, I saw the gulf between him and Leonard. "Father, let Lottie go." Princess Anne pressed a dagger her own neck. With each step, blood beaded. Her voice broke. "Even now, won't you stop? If you don't release her, I'll die before you." "Princess, don't be foolish. Put down the blade. He will not repent." Before the emperor could speak, General Yang leapt from his horse and stepped forward. "Anne, put it down." Anne smiled through tears, as if marveling that her former father-in-law cared more than her father. "Father, do you regret it? If you hadn't killed Peter, would General Yang do this today? This is your retribution." "Ungrateful girl, die then." He jerked. The blade at my neck slipped, pain flared and warm blood ran. An arrow hissed past my cheek and buried itself in the emperor's left chest. He collapsed behind me. My knees gave out. "Father!" Anne cried, dropping the dagger and kneeling to cradle him, sobbing. Alexander rushed to me, trembling as he lifted me. His voice shook. "Lottie, let's go home." "Will you still take me home?" I cried. I didn't know how to face him. Before I saw him, I wanted him every day. I wondered 1,000 times if he'd be happy to know about our child. Now, looking at him, I had nothing more to say. Later, I learned the whole story. The Wuning iron mine the first prince hid had been known since the Wei ancestors' time. 100 years ago, Wuning was the Wei fief. The foreign surnamed king used the iron to forge weapons and secretly raised 3,000 private soldiers in case the Xiao turned on him. No one knew of that hidden army until now. After the first prince forced the palace, Leonard sprang the trap. I had warned Emperor Adrian that Leonard and General Yang had dealings. He was on guard. What he miscounted were the 3,000 Wei elites. Victor's arrow nearly killed the emperor. He signed the abdication edict. They called it abdication, but it read like a confession. Leonard became emperor in name and fact. To show benevolence, he enfeoffed Wuning and moved the emperor's kin there. A century ago, Wuning had been their fief. The departure date was set in haste. I went to send off Princess Anne. She held Ping's arm, clear-eyed, unafraid. She seemed to shed all royal attachment. There will be no more Princess Anne with a train of lovers. I'll live well with Ping. Ping looked at her tenderly, love brimming. She stroked my belly. We may never meet again. Take care. And you too, little one. Soldiers led them away. Watching their backs, I remembered her wedding to Peter. He called her Ping. She called him Ping. Now she had a new Ping. Everyone left but father and me. He stood beneath the parasol tree back lonely. When I was young, I fought with Leonard. He is a man of deep feeling. So is Alexander. I married you into their family thinking that if they didn't rebel, you'd remain a princess. Even if they seized the throne, they wouldn't harm you." He sighed, somewhere between pleased and something else. "So it is. In temperament and skill, Alexander is more fit than Victor to rule. If you're miserable, I'll take you away and we'll live our own life." He hesitated, looking at my belly. "But there's a child. I admit I still loved Alexander. I couldn't let go. But staying with him would be a knife in my heart. I'll think about it." That night, I sat on the bed, lost in thought over Father's words. A large hand slipped around my waist and pulled me close. "What's got you so absorbed?" "I was waiting for you." He wasn't the powerless official he'd been. Now he was a busy prince. He smiled, palm on my belly. "What did you eat? Let me guess, you didn't eat much? You're annoying. You want to manage everything." We returned to our false sweetness, avoiding anything that could hurt. I missed Yuzhou suddenly. I had been truly happy there. Even the air had tasted sweet. "I want you to hold me." He lifted me onto his lap. "I've been busy lately and haven't held you enough. My fault." I hooked his neck and grinned. "At least you know. Alexander, I fancied you long ago. The day you won top scholar, I peeked at you from an upstairs window. I even dropped the wine jar." He laughed. "You call that peeking? You molested me. I was showered with flowers. Then a drunken little minx catcalled me. But she was very pretty, her pearl earrings swaying right into my heart. So he remembered me all along?" Later, Prince Stephen invited me to his manor. Before I crossed the threshold, that little minx fell from the sky. "You're the minx." I pinched his cheek. "Pighead. Tomorrow I'll dine at your father's. I want time with father. I'll fetch you at night." "All right." We quickly set a date to leave the capital tomorrow. "Princess Miss," Lily stumbled over the title. "Can we not go? What will the Lord do?" "He'll come for you." I shook my head. "He's not like that. He looks strong, but he's delicate inside. He understands everything even if he doesn't say it. We'll explain. He won't cling." We returned to my father's manor. I took the joined for life seals the Empress Dowager had given us and left a letter of divorce. "Are you sure?" Father eyed the stone lion at the gate. "Will you go?" I eyed the bundle on his back. "Father, what are you doing? Enough already?" Sigh. "I regret not selling the Huanwali chair. That would have fetched a fortune. We can't live hard. Maybe we should sell the rare volumes in my study." "I can't with you," I snapped. Lily and Grace supported me. "Don't be mad. The baby will be ugly." Father and I wandered famous mountains and rivers. As the weather cooled and my belly grew, we settled in Luo Prefecture. We opened ink studio, selling brushes, ink, paper, and inkstones. Sometimes I forced Father to sell paintings. He claimed painting cultivated the spirit and refused. Father had been a soldier in youth, then lived richly. He married early, had me at 18. He was 36 and still looked young. Annoyingly, someone mistook us for a married couple and praised our couple's resemblance. Ridiculous. Bah, bad luck. I lived well. I never thought of Alexander. As I expected, he never pestered me. I first heard news of him in a tea house. Red plum was blooming. I waddled out to buy a vase. A storyteller praised the new emperor and said he'd named a crown prince. Someone asked, "Which one?" "The new emperor has 2 sons. He named the younger Prince of Yi, Victor Wei." "Why not the elder? Isn't he the top scholar of Jiahua 23? The storyteller snorted. "Is that your 2 tales business to ponder?" I forgot the vase and shuffled home. At the gate, someone tall and slender walked toward me. "How did you know I wouldn't cling? I want to be with you every day, for life." He looked at me through fluttering snow. I looked back. Outside Shao Garden, red plums scented the air, snow fell thick, and an old bonus, deep autumn. The day Father named Victor Wei the crown prince, a parade of flower floats rolled through the streets. Victor sat high on the float, smiling with his eyes and brows. Even so, he kept the corners of his mouth under control, fighting not to look too pleased with himself. The sight took me back to the day I placed first in the imperial exam. Dressed in blazing red, astride a white horse with a silver saddle, I rode proudly too. Brimming with high spirits, I was charging toward what I believed would be a dazzling future. That day, drunk on my own triumph, I met a beautiful drunk in the street. With one startling glance, a few romantic thoughts stirred despite myself. She cradled a wine jar and smiled sweetly. I followed the sound and looked up, only to meet her gaze by chance. The pearl earrings at her ears swayed back and forth. Beautiful. I was never one to chase beauty. Maybe I was too pleased with myself that day. Or maybe the mood was too perfect. One brief glimpse, and the still water of my heart rippled without warning. Later, I never expected that drunk would become my wife. Somewhere, in some careless moment, she swayed in unsteadily and walked straight into my heart. Victor had warned me again and again not to forget our plan. He cursed me for losing my head, for going soft and being unable to pull myself out. I couldn't argue. I used to think I didn't care about beauty. But after I met her, I even found myself wishing, again and again, that I could just hold her hand and take a walk. Better yet, fall asleep with her in my arms. I'm only an ordinary man in this dusty world. So what if I fell in love? She's a Xiao, and I'm a Wei. So what? Let people worry if they want. I was happy. In this, Victor was like a monk who'd cut off desire. He was born uninterested in beauty. He acted decisively and never hesitated. When she had just left, Victor even offered advice, exasperated. If you really want to keep her, where can she run once she's carrying a child? If it were me, I'd lock her up in the residence and never let her leave. This world is already ruled by the Wei. If you really want to find her, you could drag her back from the ends of the earth. Why put on this act like you can't let go? As he said it, Victor's eyes were full of contempt, his face openly scornful. My foolish younger brother. He'd never loved anyone. He thought love was that simple. Love is rare. Many people spend their whole lives without ever meeting someone willing to stay with them forever. When Victor meets such a person, he'll understand. A prison can't keep someone. Only your love can make her choose, willingly, to take your hand for life. I didn't abandon Lottie. I just felt we both needed time. They say that those who've seen many famous mountains and great rivers become broad-minded and calm. I let her leave for a while. I was giving her time. I was waiting for her to accept me. Forever. But she'd only been gone 2 months. How had it already become unbearable? Autumn had deepened, grown sharp and strong. I missed her. The floats drifted farther and farther away. I watched Victor's back and thought he truly was better suited to be crown prince than I was. I went into the palace to see Mother. She sat on a small couch, lost in thought, her exquisite phoenix robe trailing on the floor. "Alexander," she asked, lifting her eyelids to look at me. Grief showed in her eyes. "You're leaving, aren't you? Ever since she left, I've felt I wouldn't be able to keep you here. You have duties as a husband and a father. I can't selfishly ask you to stay. If you get the chance, come back to the palace and see me." A mother and son share one heart. That was how it was. She understood everything I hadn't said. She supported my decision in silence. I knelt and kowtowed 3 times. "I've failed you. Thank you for letting me go." When I went to the study to take my leave of father, he sat and thought for a long time before speaking. "That's as it should be. I still have memorials to review. Go." With nothing left to hold me back, I returned home, packed, and left at once. I rode hard toward Luo Prefecture. I thought of how Lottie had once gone alone to Yuzhou to find me. I wondered whether she had felt as I did now. Reckless courage surged in my chest, too eager to wait. Autumn was thick and dark. If I urged my horse and reached Luo Prefecture fast enough, would I catch the first snow? If I didn't, so be it. From this day on, her life would always have me in it.